I am absolutely convinced that Mayor Ted Wheeler of Portland is trying to make things worse. This tweet that he put out makes zero sense. It makes no sense unless you're trying to instigate things. These are the same tactics that bad cops use when they try to escalate a situation to a point where violence is necessary because they just want the violence. I believe Mayor Ted Wheeler just wants the violence. Listen to what I'm saying and just hear me out and see if it makes sense to you. Mayor Ted Wheeler tweets out, "This afternoon, I was made aware of concerns within the community that federal agents may be authorized to use live ammunition on demonstrators this evening. Given the deployment of federal agents to other American cities and the clear escalation of the federal government, this information was alarming. I have spoken with the U.S. Attorney of Oregon, Billy Williams, who assures me that the federal government has no plans to use live ammunition on Portlanders tonight, and that such an order would be unlawful. Nevertheless, I am sharing this information publicly out of an abundance of caution. If you plan to demonstrate tonight, please be safe." Okay, hold on now. So you're telling me that this whole time, for 56 days now, the federal courthouse has been under siege. In fact, it's been described as a medieval-style siege. And the federal agents who are barricaded inside for their own protection from the massive crowd outside, and they haven't used any live ammunition to point, have they? And you have been told it is unlawful, and yet you still put out this tweet, which is going to do what? People are going to read this, and they're going to say, oh, well, the mayor says that they're going to use live ammunition. And then the protesters show up with live ammunition because they believe the federal agents are going to have live ammunition and use it, upping the likelihood of an escalation. And people have such the wrong narrative of what's going on. The courthouse is under siege. This picture right here, this big old fire right here, this is, let me move this up so that way it's a little clearer to be seen. Mayor Wheeler was right in the middle of all of this, literally instigating it. This is a fire outside of the federal courthouse. The federal agents inside have come out periodically to put out fires, knock the protesters back using non-lethal force, and try to repair the barricades for their own safety. They are not attacking the protesters are attacking them. The protesters are engaging them. The federal agents are not going out and attacking the protesters. The protesters have thrown commercial-grade fireworks at the building. Those are dangerous. And the narrative is being framed. And the Portland government itself is trying to say no rule of law. No. Cops in Portland are told to not engage protesters. They are not protesters. As you can clearly see, they are rioters because protesters don't act in this manner. Protesters are not violent. These are rioters. Calling them anarchists is a disservice because an anarchist isn't someone who is violent. A true anarchist is someone who just wants to be left alone. They don't want to be told what to do, and they just want to be left alone. They avoid things like this. This is stupid. You've got a Portland Portland authorities going against the federal government who is trying to keep rule of law. What? And you've got the mayor himself out there trying to instigate things, propagating rumors that he knows are rumors because he's been told that it would be an unlawful order. That order does not exist. Does anybody else open their eyes? I mean, does anybody else read beyond just the headline? Does anybody else look at a story and say, well, that doesn't sound right? Let me look into it. That doesn't sound right. What's going on? What is another person's point of view? Or does everybody just look at it and be like, oh, well, Wheeler says that there's going to be live ammunition, so, well, we better go strapped for bear. And then you've got them using live ammunition. And then what do you want the federal agents to do? What happens if the federal agents are in there and they're trying to defend themselves and defend the courthouse, which is what they are sworn to do, and they are under siege? The federal agents are under siege. The Portlanders are not under siege. The Portlanders are the aggressors. The Portlanders are the ones that are attacking. My God. Does being progressive mean that you have to go to some super secret lab somewhere and donate your best brain cells so that way they can have some super smart brain leader up there or something? I don't understand how you can't see this. It is not the federal agents doing the attacking. The federal agents are doing the defending. If the Portlanders weren't there and they weren't surrounding the courthouse, throwing fires and Molotov cocktails and slingshots and frozen bottles of water and things like that, then this wouldn't be happening. There wouldn't be a conflict there. And here's the thing to remember: if you are there and you're involved in that conflict, the only way to guarantee that a conflict will not hurt you is to avoid the conflict. Read past the headlines. Watch dissenting opinions. Get other points of view and educate yourself so that way we can avoid things like this. Because you know what's going to happen, right? When this is all over and rule of law finally takes over, because eventually rule of law will take over, then there will be additional laws stripping us of our rights to prevent this type of thing from happening again. Mark my words. I love you guys. You guys stay informed. Look past the headlines. The only way to do that is to do your own research, listen to dissenting opinions, come at it from an academic point of view, take your own personal bias and things that you believe are going on, and look at things from an alternate perspective. If you listen to the mainstream media, you would think these protesters, they are not protesters. Quit calling them protesters. You do a disservice to the word protest. There is a proper way to protest, and this is not it. Laws are going to happen. Laws are going to make things, you know it. Those of us sitting back here, those of us who don't use violence, I mean, we're coming into a might makes rightocracy here. And whoever has the most right makes it right. Or most might makes it right. And that's not right. I'm fumbling over my words. I'm not looking forward to the day. I love you guys. I will see you on the next one. Stay informed. And join the damn discussion.